I got the email in a mess hall in the middle of the Kuwaiti desert. It was 11:03 p.m., and I had just finished a meal I couldn't taste. After 10 months on deployment, everything tasted like sand. I was checking my inbox, hoping for a video of my dog or even a grocery list from back home, something to remind me there was a world outside this furnace. Instead, I saw the subject line. Let's make this simple. It was from my wife, Rachel. We'd been married 8 years. We met in a training gym when I was 27 and she was 24, both of us pretending we didn't notice each other until we finally bumped heads, literally, during a partner workout. She was fire and spit, quick to laugh, and even quicker to argue. I like that. I thought it meant passion. Turns out, it also meant she never knew how to stand still, even in marriage. Her email was exactly 4 paragraphs. Hey, I think this is the best way to do this. I'm filing for divorce. Don't worry about anything. We'll keep it amicable. I already moved my stuff, took what's fair from our account, and figured it was time for a fresh start. I'm letting you keep your truck. I moved in with Jake, by the way. He's been helping with the house. It's easier this way. Take care of yourself. I read it 3 times. I didn't respond immediately. Not because I was shocked. Well, I was, but not in the way people expect. The thing is, there's a kind of clarity that comes from being in the middle of a war zone, half a world away from everything that used to matter. It strips things down. You don't waste time on denial. You observe, you calculate, you act. So I wrote back one word. Understood. I logged off. 3 weeks earlier, she had sent me a video walking through the kitchen. We really need to redo these countertops, she said, panning the camera to the old laminate. Jake was in the background, shirtless, working on something under the sink. Jake. I thought he was a contractor. He was. But apparently, he was also now the man sleeping in my bed. I had met him once. Maybe twice. A buddy from her networking circle. He sold solar panels and quoted Navy SEALs as if that gave him gravitas. I should have known, but I hadn't been paying enough attention. I was too focused on the next rotation, making sure my unit stayed safe, trying to pretend like my marriage wasn't a slow leak in the background. What Rachel didn't know, what no one knew, was that while she was drafting her amicable email, I had just been informed I'd be stateside within 45 days due to an early redeployment. My CO didn't announce it formally yet, but I was on a priority list for personal reasons I hadn't told Rachel about. The Army was sending me home, and she wasn't expecting me. I spent the next week preparing. Not for a confrontation, no, that would be a waste. Rachel wanted to play cold and efficient? I could do that too. I spent every free hour planning logistics. Bank accounts, property titles, shared passwords. I didn't just read her email, I dissected it. And when I realized she'd used the phrase, took what's fair, I knew exactly what to look for. Rachel wasn't just trying to leave me. She was trying to erase me. Quietly. Cleanly. Like I'd never existed. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to dismantle her illusion. Piece by piece. 42 days later, I stepped off the plane in Texas with one duffel bag, a backpack, and a plan. She still had no idea I was back. The house, our house, was under my name. Always had been. Rachel didn't qualify when we applied, and though she'd fought to be added later, I never updated the title. I had a prenup she forgot existed and a lawyer who owed me favors. Rachel thought she'd won because she got there first. She didn't realize I'd been preparing for war my entire life. I pulled up to the driveway at 11:48 p.m., lights on in the living room. His truck was parked where mine used to be. They were probably watching Netflix, drinking my bourbon, laughing about how easy I'd made it for them. I didn't knock. I unlocked the door with the key she probably thought I'd lost. Jake was on the couch, shirtless again. Of course. He jumped up like a raccoon caught in a trash can. Rachel dropped her wine glass. Ethan? I didn't answer. I walked in like I owned the place, because I did. I set my duffel down by the door and said calmly, "You've got 15 minutes to get out." And that's when it all started to unravel for her. Rachel laughed. "You're back early. What? You're gonna make a scene? You already agreed to the divorce." I looked her dead in the eye. Didn't say I disagreed. I just didn't say I'd make it painless. Jake stepped forward like he thought he was going to be a hero. I smiled. "Sit down, Jake. Don't do something stupid." He hesitated. I could see it in his eyes. He wasn't built for confrontation. He was the kind of guy who liked sneaking in when no one was watching, but he didn't know how to stand his ground when challenged. He sat. Rachel was sputtering now, confused and trying to recover. "You can't just show up like this. This is harassment. This is my house. I pulled out the title and dropped it on the kitchen counter. No, Rachel. It's mine. Rachel's jaw dropped as I slid the property title across the counter. She snatched it like it might be fake. Her face fell. Then came the rage. You can't just kick me out. I can. You're a guest in my house. Jake looked at her. You said this place was under your name. She ignored him. You agreed to the divorce. I didn't agree to being robbed, I said flatly. That's when I opened my phone and played back the video I'd recorded at the bank. The joint account? Closed. The money? Already transferred. Not to the account Rachel emptied, but to a personal one she'd forgotten about, one I'd used since basic training. I'd moved it right before I left Kuwait. I let her see the zero balance. Rachel's face went white. That's theft. No. It's recovery. Jake stood up. So, what the hell happens now? You get out. They didn't move fast enough. I walked into the bedroom and tossed 2 suitcases onto the floor. Rachel screamed. I gave you my life. And you traded it for a contractor with a 6-pack and no legal claim to this house. She rushed at me, claws out. I caught her wrists. Don't. I'm still in uniform, Rachel. You want to explain an assault charge to a judge during divorce court? That shut her up. They left that night, slamming doors, screaming. But they left. I changed the locks the next morning. Within 48 hours, Rachel lawyered up. Problem for her? So did I. Mine had the prenup, bank logs, text backups, and video of her boyfriend's car parked in my driveway every night for a month. Her lawyer tried negotiating. I gave them my terms. No alimony. No access to the house. No claim to my retirement. No emotional damages payout. And if she refused, I'd release the footage. Jake wasn't just her boyfriend, he was her boss's son. Married. Their HR department had a zero-tolerance policy for interpersonal workplace entanglements. Her lawyer backed down fast. Rachel called me 2 days later, sobbing. Why are you doing this? You started it, I said. I'm just finishing it. Jake called me 2 days after they left the house. Blocked number. I answered out of curiosity. She told me you'd be cool with it, he said, voice shaky. She said the divorce was mutual. Did she also say the house was hers? Silence. She said you cheated, he added. That she was escaping you. I actually laughed. And you believed her? Good luck explaining this mess to your wife. Click. Turns out Jake's wife had already found out. Word got back to me through mutuals. She filed for divorce the same week and exposed everything to Jake's dad, who happened to be Rachel's boss. Jake was out of a marriage and a job by Friday. Rachel tried to get ahead of it. She sent emails to her office, friends, even my extended family, trying to spin the narrative. But by then, I'd already made my move. A single shared Google Drive folder with all the receipts, timestamps, footage, screenshots of her transferring cash out of our joint account, and photos of her and Jake together from my home security camera archives. No commentary. Just facts. I sent it to 10 people. Didn't need to send more. The fallout exploded faster than I anticipated. Her networking circle ghosted her. Her family stopped returning her calls. Her employer placed her on unpaid leave pending investigation. She showed up at my door the next Tuesday. I didn't open it. Just let her talk to the camera. I made a mistake, she said. I panicked. I didn't think you'd come back early. I watched from the window. She looked smaller somehow, like the weight of everything finally settled on her shoulders. I didn't expect you to be like this, she said. Cold. Strategic. You never used to be like this. I finally opened the door. No. I used to love you. She flinched. I'm offering you something, I said. A deal. You sign what I send you. You disappear from my life. Or we go to court, and I drag you through every dirty detail. Tears welled up in her eyes. You wouldn't. Try me. The divorce packet was 57 pages. I hand-delivered it to Rachel's new apartment, a third-floor unit in a rundown complex off the highway. No furniture yet. Just a blow-up mattress and 2 half-empty boxes. Jake was long gone. She opened the door wearing a hoodie and no makeup. Her eyes were puffy. She barely looked like the woman I married. She flipped through the documents in silence. Every page was clean, legal, and airtight. The prenup protected me. The infidelity clause buried her. There was nothing left to fight for except her pride. But even that looked pretty cracked. You really did all this behind my back? She asked, still stunned. No, I replied. You just weren't paying attention. I handed her the pen. To her credit, she didn't argue. She signed every page. Her hand shook near the end. I stood. I'll have the court filing done by Thursday. You'll get confirmation in the mail. She didn't look up. I turned to leave. Then she said it. Ethan, was there someone else? I froze. Not because of the question, but because I had expected it a lot earlier. No, I said. There could have been. But I was loyal. Right until your email. She nodded, eyes glossy. I guess that makes it worse. I didn't reply. I walked out. The final signature was processed. I thought that was the end. But a week later, I got a knock on my door. It wasn't Rachel. It was her mother. I hadn't seen her in almost 2 years. She looked like she aged 10 in the last 2 months. She didn't ask to come in. She just handed me a manila envelope and said, "You should see this. Rachel never thought you'd find out." Inside were screenshots, printouts, emails. Rachel hadn't just been cheating on me with Jake. She'd also forged my digital signature months before to redirect part of my military pay into a private savings account. It was under her name only. I told her to confess, her mother said. She wouldn't. So now I'm telling you. I stared at the documents Rachel's mother handed me. Bank statements, transfer logs, my own name forged on an allotment redirection form. She'd been siphoning $1,200 a month out of my military pay for almost a year, depositing it into a savings account at a local credit union I didn't even know she had. The kicker? The first transfer happened 3 weeks before I deployed. She didn't just cheat while I was gone. She planned for it. I didn't say a word to her mother. I just nodded. She gave me a sad smile like she'd rehearsed it and turned away. Back inside, I flipped open my laptop. I still had access to the MyPay portal. Rachel never expected me to dig through old records. She probably assumed I wouldn't bother. She was wrong. I downloaded everything. My military pay history, TSP logs, savings bond allocations. And there it was. A change authorization dated 9 days before my flight overseas. The name was mine. The signature wasn't. Within the hour, I was on the phone with my JAG contact. I explained the situation in short, clinical terms. Fraud. Forgery. Theft. He didn't hesitate. Come in tomorrow. We'll start the complaint. Rachel called that night. I don't know what my mom gave you, but it's not what it looks like. I didn't respond. Please. You got everything else. Just let this go. I'll transfer it all back. Every cent. Still silent. I was scared, Ethan. I thought you'd leave me eventually. I wanted something for myself. You got it, I said. You're alone now. She broke down sobbing, but I ended the call. The legal wheels turned fast. Military channels don't screw around with financial fraud, especially not involving a service member's active duty income. Within 2 weeks, Rachel was served again. This time, with a criminal complaint. Forgery. Wire fraud. Potential jail time. And I still hadn't gone public. Yet, I could have let the legal system handle it. But something about the quiet path didn't sit right. Rachel's lies weren't just aimed at me, they rewrote our entire marriage. To everyone else, she was the abandoned wife. The victim. The one left behind. They didn't see the bank fraud, the affair, the manipulation. They saw her curated collapse, not the mess she created. So I changed the game. I compiled everything, documents, timelines, screenshots, her fake signature next to my real one, video stills of her and Jake in my living room while I was deployed. Then I wrote a statement. Just the facts. No insults. No emotional outbursts. And I sent it to 4 people. Her boss. Our mutual friends. Her sister. And Jake's wife. The impact was immediate. Her sister messaged me. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Her friends? Unfriended her in under a day. Her boss? Fired her. Not suspended, fired. The HR violation combined with the financial exposure? They didn't want the liability. Jake's wife? Oh, she unleashed hell. Word is, Rachel had to change her number. Twice. Rachel didn't call. She didn't text. She showed up. Again. Outside my driveway, hoodie over her head, shaking in the cold. She didn't knock. Just stood there. I stepped out. She looked up, eyes rimmed red. You said you'd keep it quiet, she whispered. I said I wouldn't take you to court if you signed. She looked destroyed. You ruined me. I didn't flinch. No, Rachel. You ruined yourself. I just made sure people saw the pieces. She turned to leave. Then she stopped. Why? Why did you go through with the marriage? You knew who I was. I thought for a second. Because I believed you could be better. I was wrong. She walked away. And this time, I didn't watch her go. 3 weeks passed. The air felt lighter. Rachel was gone, the lawsuit was moving through the system, and for the first time in a year, I slept through the night. Then came the knock. Not frantic. Not angry. Just deliberate. I opened the door and saw Zach, my former best friend, best man at my wedding, and someone I hadn't spoken to in nearly 2 years. He looked rough. Hair longer, beard patchy, dark circles under his eyes. "She's not done," he said before I could ask. I stared. "Rachel?" He nodded. "She's coming after your military pension." That stopped me cold. "She can't," I said. "The prenup." "She found a loophole. She's filing a claim saying she contributed to your career stability, that she put her own work on hold to support your deployments. Emotional sacrifice angle." I blinked. Where the hell is she getting that idea? "She's saying she supported your mental health during your PTSD treatment. She's trying to spin the VA counseling logs into proof." I felt my jaw clench. Rachel had driven me to therapy after my second rotation. I confided in her, trusted her. Now she was weaponizing that against me. Zach pulled out his phone. "She's been talking to a military divorce consultant. I have a friend who works in the same firm. They overheard her bragging about still being able to gut the bastard where it hurts." My fists curled without thinking. "She's unhinged," Zach said quietly. "She's desperate. And that makes her dangerous." That night, I reviewed every piece of documentation I had, then called my JAG contact again. We filed a protective financial order to freeze her ability to retroactively claim support rights. But that wasn't enough. If she wanted to play dirty, I was going to bury her. Rachel thought she was smart. She always did. Twisting my old PTSD counseling into a sob story about how she had been the emotional pillar, the sacrificial wife, the reason I'd survived my own mind. She didn't expect me to still have my own copies of everything. The VA doesn't just keep therapist notes. I kept a private log too, something I started when I first got back from my second deployment. Every major session, I summarized afterward. Names, themes, progress. Rachel's name barely came up. In fact, the few times she did come up, I wrote about how unavailable she was, about how she brushed off my panic attacks, how she said I was milking the vet thing, how she told me to man up when I couldn't sleep. I called my VA counselor. She was retired now, but she remembered me. "Funny," she said on the phone. "I remember her being completely detached. Once, she left in the middle of your intake session. Something about a salon appointment. I asked if she'd be willing to submit a statement. She agreed. But that wasn't the kill shot. The kill shot was her own therapist. I didn't know Rachel was in therapy until her old text surfaced in the forensic pull from her iCloud. Messages to a friend where she vented about how Ethan always wants to talk about his feelings, and I'm just not built for this supportive wife crap. Gold. The texts were timestamped. They lined up perfectly with the dates of my counseling. My lawyer packaged everything: VA records, personal logs, Rachel's text contradictions, and filed a formal objection to her pension claim. Alongside it, a cease and desist for emotional manipulation and bad faith litigation. Rachel responded by ghosting her own attorney. The case stalled. We won the objection. She tried to tear into my future and instead lost her last card. But just when I thought it was over, I got a letter in the mail from a child support enforcement office. Rachel had filed a paternity claim and named me as the father. The envelope hit like a mortar round. Notice of pending paternity and child support action. Filed 2 counties over. Name: Rachel M. Carter. Child in question: male. Age: 10 months. That math hit fast. I'd been deployed just over 11 months. Rachel was claiming I fathered a child during the last month I was overseas. Impossible. Unless. No, she wouldn't. Would she? I called the case officer listed on the document. She sounded surprised I responded so quickly. "Mr. Carter, the petitioner claims the child was conceived during your mid-deployment leave," she said. "Can you confirm whether you were in the United States between February and March last year?" "I didn't take leave," I said flatly. "Command needed me in Kuwait. My records will show that." There was a pause. "If that's true, it may resolve itself. But you'll still need to take a paternity test." "Gladly." The test happened in a sterile office 10 minutes from my house. Quick cheek swab. Signed, sealed, notarized. They said results would take 2 weeks. I got them in 9 days. Probability of paternity: 0.00%. But I wasn't satisfied. Why file this claim at all? What was Rachel trying to pull? So I made a call to a buddy still in base admin. asked if anyone had tried to log a false leave under my name. He called back the next morning. I found something weird, he said. A leave request came in with your ID, dated February 18th. Denied, because you were on duty that week. Who filed it? Someone using your old credentials. They tried logging in from a civilian IP. It was Rachel. She tried to forge a deployment leave, then used that lie to pin a kid on me. Why? Because her actual baby daddy, Jake, was unemployed, mid-divorce, and drowning in debt. And she knew I had stability. She thought she could fake a leave window and force me to pay child support for his kid. I sent the DNA results to the court and filed for malicious civil prosecution. Rachel's attempt at financial warfare just blew up in her face again. But this time, it triggered something bigger. Because forging a leave request under a soldier's name? That's federal fraud. You don't impersonate a soldier and walk away. Rachel didn't just fake a leave request. She accessed a restricted military login portal using stolen credentials I'd stored on our shared laptop. She had copied them before I deployed premeditated. That moved everything from family court drama to federal felony. I reported it through my chain of command, then through official Army CID Criminal Investigation Division. They took one look at the login logs and launched a full investigation. Turns out Rachel had accessed the portal 3 times using my credentials. Once to attempt a fake leave request. Once to try changing my TSP, Thrift Savings Plan, allocation. Once to view my duty roster, likely trying to line up her fake paternity timeline. Each act, unauthorized access to a federal system. Maximum penalty? Up to 5 years per count. Rachel was served a federal summons within the month. This time, she didn't come crying. She didn't call. She didn't show up. They issued a bench warrant. She was picked up 2 towns over, trying to rent a short-term apartment under her maiden name. She posted bail, but the damage was done. Her name? Blacklisted. Job prospects? Vaporized. Custody of the baby she lied about? Transferred to Jake, who didn't even want it. He filed for full custody just to avoid paying her support. Her life? Ashes. I never celebrated. Never posted an update. I didn't gloat. I just changed my number, deleted the old social accounts, and walked away. 6 months later, I got one final letter. Handwritten. No return address. I thought I was clever. I thought I was justified. You taught me what consequences feel like. I used to think I broke you, but I only woke you up. I burned the letter. Epilogue. I'm not a vengeful man, but I believe in balance. She destroyed trust. I returned the favor with receipts. And in the end, all I said was, understood.